right? Okay. I know you're sick of hearing me, but, I've really got to solidify it. So what I'm going to do, it does not matter how you show the plan. Again, the plan is just talking about whatever jazzes you want about this business. For me, it's shop.com. It's the concept of owning an internet franchise, right? So my conversation everywhere is, hey, Dan, what are you doing these days? Well, I don't know if you heard, but I own one of those internet franchises. Oh, really? Well, what's that? Well, just like a franchise, but this one's virtual. Well, what does that mean? Well, just like a franchise, if you own a McDonald's, it's not your job to come up with the next Happy Meal toy, okay? So just like that, our parent company, Market America, any possible way they can find a way to make money, they put the time, energy, and research in that. When they find those ways, they add that to my virtual franchise. That is my conversation. That's been my conversation for 10 years. I'm like a broken record. I don't change my conversation. My new distributors hear the same conversation, right? Duplication, if that works for them, it's just the same kind of conversation over and over and over. Is that fair? So then when I'm sitting down with them and they're like, yeah, I'd like to see that, I'm kind of doing the same conversation as I show the plan. Do you guys want me to see this?
Yes.
Okay, because I know you've seen the plan, but this is how I draw the plan out, basically. So, if I'm sitting with somebody, Chris, can I use you? Okay. So I'm like, oh, Chris, as we were talking about, this virtual franchise I own, like I was saying before, and again, number one, ultimately, you really need to find out why somebody wants to see the plan before you show it. Get to know them, figure out what's going on. Is it money? Is it background? Is it health? Whatever, right? That's part of this, okay? You don't just dive right into the plan. I used to be guilty of that. I was so excited to get in and start drawing it out. I dive right into it. And just people get turned off about that. Females, I think, get turned off, by that really quickly. You gotta have the small talk. You gotta create a little bit of relationship. Lately, if I spend the next hour just getting to know you and we never show the plan, then so be it, right? Because what's my goal at showing the plan? Ultimately, but what's my goal at showing the plan? Get a follow-up. Ultimately, I want you to lead me to others. Okay, but the goal is to get the follow-up. So if we spend an hour getting to know each other, you think they're going to give me that follow-up? Yeah, probably. How to win friends and influence, people, right? Dale Carnegie, right? Just let them know they are important as a person. Let them know you really are hearing them, all right? And they'll give you the world, right? So if that's what it is, don't rush through that part of it. But when it really comes to seeing the business plan, Chris, as I said, Market America is the parent company. They've been in business for 23 years, right? And what they do as a franchise owner, and guess whose name goes in here? Okay? Market America's a franchise. What they do is any possible way they can find a way to make money. They put the time, energy, and research in that, and when they find those, they add those to your virtual franchise. You don't have to know or understand or use all of them. It's just you have access to all of these ways to make money, okay? Market America has done $6.5 billion, and $3.5 billion has been earned by franchise owners. Whatever, sometimes I get into more detail, sometimes I don't. It just depends on who I'm talking to. Is that fair? Okay? So then I kind of, want to qualify this, and I want to start proving it a little bit. So, Chris, as Market America is looking into different areas to make money, okay, some of the things that they do is, number one, is they only look at billion-dollar markets, right? And in those existing billion-dollar markets, right, they're not going to go and try to invent a new thing, right? They're not going to invent the photo arm, because I invented the photo arm. But that was a joke, yeah. I did that. But anyways, they're not going to take the risk on doing something like that. They're going to go into an existing market and see if we can improve on that market. Is that fair? Okay. So they only deal in existing billion-dollar markets because they know money's already going through that. They also, in those markets, they'll only deal basically with consumable, right, goods and services. Now, I didn't understand this one that much when I first saw it, right? Shannon's showing the plan, so what's the first thing she brings out? a bottle of this pink stuff, right? They're talking 15 years old, or 15 years ago, I was 27 years old, and she brings out a bottle of the pink stuff. So I'm sitting there going, come on, my guy, what are you talking about? I mean, where's the chainsaws, right? I can talk to Paul about chainsaws, right? I mean, that's good, right? The problem is, if we carry chainsaws, after I sell that saw, right, what do I have to do to feed my family? Find a brand new customer. Because that thing's going to last 20 years. And then I got to find a brand new customer. And you live and die by your next customer. And who has the time or wants to be a salesperson beating the street getting new customers all the time? So obviously what Market America knows, if they deal in consumable goods and services, when they get consumed, they run out and people buy it over and over and over. So it may not seem as sexy in the beginning, but I have customers 15 years later now that I barely even ever talked to again. I'd be there if they need me, and every time they reorder, I get paid over and over and over and over for the work that I did 15 years ago. Now, the other example of that would be, again, I don't know Long Island demographics, but in Buffalo, it seems like every month, a new furniture store is going out of business, the mattress store is going out of business, the electronics store is going out of business. Those are all fixed type goods, right? How many grocery stores have you seen go out of business in Long Island? Right? I don't know if they do or not, but grocery stores do not go out of business in Buffalo. They're consumable goods. They get their base, right? And once they get the base, people come back over and over and over, right? So I may or may not spend a lot of time on that, but I just want to really let them know the value of consumable goods. So it also helps prepare them mentally for isotonics and awake and motives and all these other areas. Especially, I think guys have a little harder time with that because you've already qualified the value of consumable goods. Is that fair? Okay. And then, in my bag of tricks, I always have an isotonic, right? Because now I want to kind of prove, baby, take my isotonics.
Nope.
I want to prove what I've said, okay? So, Market America, and now I'm interacting with Chris, aren't I? Chris, would you agree that health and nutrition, whether you're into it or not, but would you agree that it's $1 billion industry, health and nutrition? Okay, nutraceuticals, natural way of doing that is a fair statement. And so what you see is consumable goods. So I'll say, well, one area they looked into is health and nutrition, okay? But it's no good just having a center or something like that. It's what everybody has. They researched that area and figured out, well, can we break into that industry? And then really what they found, your typical water-soluble vitamins, people who do not absorb them as well because they're not bioavailable, they're not broken down, they sit in your stomach, all these things we know, okay? So now I've kind of shown and proved some value. I've proved a little bit of what I'm saying, right? I've given him the overview, but now I have some hard evidence things to prove it with, okay? Whether you're into it or not, do we agree that the energy drink industry, is it getting hot in here, is it me? I am from Buffalo. The ladies are like, oh, finally warmed up. No, yeah, we got it. No. So whether you're into it or not, would you agree that the energy drink industry is $1 billion industry? I don't care if you're into it or not. Would you want a little piece of that? Right? Okay. So what did Market America do? Can we break into that industry? And then I always have an awake. Okay. Mainly to help prove my business model. Right? So I'll put energy drink industry. Fair enough? Now, depending on who I'm meeting with, just being straight up. If I'm meeting with a male, I do not bring up motives. 0 motives. Right? I mean, sometimes we go through this and we think we have to, like there's this law that we're supposed to break. No. I'm going to customize it based on who I'm talking to. If it's a female, I'm talking about skincare and motives. If it's a guy, right? All right, well, we've got an auto store. Right? We've got a pet store. We've got a web store. What that means is, would you agree, Chris, there's probably still enough businesses that either do not have a website or probably need a major upgrade. And I'm talking about the chiropractor, the hair salon, your local mom and pop type stores, okay, would you agree that that's still a billion-dollar industry? Well, Market America, again, recognizing that industry, they went out and figured out, here, is there a way for us to break an industry? And our biggest thing in our web industry, our web centers, is the fact that really the best websites are ones that are different and changed all the time. That make sense? Okay, and the only way a small to medium-sized business can do that is they can't be paying a webmaster $50 to $100 an hour to change, the menu of today's diner, right? Or the special at the hair salon. The business owner has to be able to do that themselves. So our web tool is really about the fact that business owners eventually take over their website with unlimited 800 text support. So they forget how to change the special of the day. The waitress calls up and says, hey, tell me how to change the website. But business owners 100% control their own website. Okay? Billion-dollar industries, can we see some value? I may or may not go further. I might talk about Conquer, right? I mean, if you're a sax player, what am I going to do? I'm going to talk a little bit about Conquer. I might talk about iTransact, the ability for the fact that we can offer credit card services to small to medium-sized businesses. These are just some of the things that I find that guys can, can attribute to a little bit. Is that fair? Okay. And then always stop at shop.com. Shop.com is my last one on this list, because then once I go through, and I've talked to Chris through this, haven't I walked him through? He's shaking his head, he's agreeing, his name's there, right? Then I pull out my laptop if I have it. If not, can I talk about the concept of shop.com? I get people who say, oh man, I got to reschedule my meeting. I don't have my laptop or it crashed. I'm like, what are you talking about? Reschedule your meeting. Are you kidding? Pull out a napkin, show the business plan, show them the concept. This is not a one meeting system. What is your goal for the meeting? To get the next meeting. Is it that they get every bit of information? Absolutely not. I have done meetings where I've stopped right there. Okay? So shop.com. Now look, if somebody's not computer literate and they're just not into computers at all, am I going to really spend much time on that? Okay, but I'll tell you, I don't care how computer illiterate you are, the internet's exploding, and when I'm like, wouldn't you want a little piece of that? They're not walking away from that. Is that fair? If they do, you may not want them anyways. Right? I mean, there's a difference between skeptical people and cynical people. Cynical people means no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. They're not going to listen to you. Skeptical people I love because they're like, hey, I have a concern with this. Show me where my thinking is wrong. Okay, that's what I love. I love that. They're some of the best people, skepticals, because once they get it, okay, then everybody that knows that they're really skeptical is like, man, you're doing it. I'm doing this, right? So shop.com. I keep it very simple. Stores. I wish that the tab that says stores on the website was bold or bigger. Come on, guys. 95% of the people that go to shop.com click the button that says stores or type the name of the store in the search engine. So why are we getting into e-gifts and all these other crazy, awesome things it has? Stores only. Hey, Chris, would you agree that somebody's going to go to, Sears.com tomorrow and probably spend $200 anyways? Is that a fair statement? So they're going to go to Sears.com, they're going to buy a table saw or whatever. They're going to go to the store, spend $200. Well, that same person, if they just go to shop.com, they just click over to Sears, right? They buy the same table they were anyways. This little Shop Buddy popped up that's going to give them a $5 coupon probably and another 2% cash back. So they made $9 basically off by going to us first. They still click in-store pickup and they buy the same thing and they got $9. That's kind of the example I use. Is that fair? If somebody's really literate, I'll get into raise.com on top of it. If they're not, don't get into it now. Some people go so big into all these stacking things that people are, well, I could never shop that way. I mean, that'll take me 2 hours to shop for, that $10 item, okay? You gotta relax. That stuff will come over time because what is our goal of the meeting? To get the next meeting, right? So then, I'm not gonna do it now, but you would show them shop.com. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorites. Who has seen the Shop Buddy, but the Shop Buddy with Amazon.com? Raise your hand if you understand the Shop Buddy and Amazon.com. Only about half the room. Babe, can I do the dance?
The Buffalo Show.
This is awesome. This is one of the things I was talking about before, where they're starting to do things now that I didn't even realize and was just blowing me away. The concept is, if you or your customer, obviously, to download Shop Buddy, you guys realize the value of that. If they forgot about shop.com, it pops up. If somebody's on Sears.com or whatever, shows up with all the coupon codes. So it's a no-brainer as it is. Well, they've just made it that if somebody's on Amazon.com, where am I? I can't do it. So if somebody's on Amazon.com, and once they get down to an exact item, shop.com, you'll see it actually down here is where it's searching, but it'll search the keywords and the model number. If and only if Shop Buddy finds a better price through shop.com, this pops up. Look at this price, $153 on Amazon. That exact site, same item on shop.com, $115. If you have not played with that at home, it is. It's actually kind of funny because I blasted this on Facebook because I was loving it so much. I got a call from corporate. They're like, we need you to take that down. I'm like, why? What are you talking? They're like, look, we kind of don't want Amazon to get wind of this because it's still our beta version, right? Because, we don't want them to get wind of it too soon because they're going to probably try to block us. But eventually, when they get this perfected, now I know it doesn't show shipping, okay? Just to disclose that, but it also doesn't show coupon codes. It doesn't show, Raise.com cards, all those other things. So it is absolutely awesome. Down the road, they'll have it for eBay, okay? Down the road from that, they're basically going to have it for all shopping. So whatever shopping site people are on, if they're not a partner store, when it sees those keywords and it finds it at a better price, it'll pop up. If I have a live connection, I'm showing that because how many times we run in the last 5 years, I shop at Amazon. And I'll tell you a couple things real quick about Amazon. Amazon is not a very profitable company, okay? I'm not even sure if they made a profit yet. They make huge revenue, but their business plan has basically been, look, we want everybody to shop on Amazon, even if it's a loss for now, so that they're so ingrained, all they're going to do is shop on Amazon.com. And guess what? It's worked. Okay? The biggest way it worked originally is they had the best price. No question, okay? They pretty much had the lowest, best prices. Well, their whole demographics have changed now that the stockholders are, basically saying it's time to be profitable. Number one, right, their prime price has gone up. Okay, number two, their prices, the items that pop up are not necessarily the least expensive prices anymore. They're the most profitable for Amazon. And it's not just us competing against Amazon. Target and Walmart and Kmart and Sears, they're all competing with Amazon. We just are the benefactors of that. Okay, so this next 10 years are going to be so fun because those demographics of people that are going to start getting wind of that are going to start searching for their next landing place for shopping. Once again, do not pose this as the end-all best website in the world because you can always find a reason it's not. You pose it as, look, you would be crazy not to at least check this website out as you're spending your money as one of those websites in your repertoire of shopping. Is that fair? Restaurants.com, this is kind of a cool one. Who uses restaurants.com? Anybody? Anybody in the area? Okay, you want a cool little thing? Who uses restaurants.com? So one little thing, restaurants.com, we have the cash back, but it's actually less expensive to buy it through Raise.com gift cards first, just so you know, because that's like 80% off. But you want a little cool thing? So restaurants.com, right? You print out the certificates. So when you go to use them at the restaurant, you know what you do? You buy two. Why do we buy two? One's for you, and you go, oh, you know what? I just happen to have another one to the table next to you. And what website do you put down? Right? Who lives around here within like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody Polish? Who's Polish? There you are. I picture it up. $25, right? Okay? You don't print one, you buy two, right? One is for you. She's like, I'm not going to a Polish restaurant. Is that what you said? One is for you, and one is for what? The table next to you. American grilled? One is for you, one is for the table next to you. Bliss Restaurant. One is for who?
One is for me and one is for the table next to me.
And what do you write on it?
I'm going to write my website. Thank you.
Sports Bar. One is for? I don't know how cool that is, huh? Well, I don't have anybody to recruit. Right? I mean, to just start the conversation. And I'll tell you, once people are drawing out the plan and have that background, they can't wait. Right now, who can't wait to go over and draw the plan out? And then start practicing with your team, and then start showing others, right? How cool is that? So obviously we have the credit card, Raise.com, all the apps, okay? You know, the Shop Buddy's not on mobile yet necessarily. You know, all those things are coming. It's going to be a great 5 years. It's going to be so fun to watch some of the things they're doing. You guys seen the Bloomberg TV video?
Yeah.
Who has not seen the Bloomberg TV video? Oh my God, that many? Okay, guys, you got to remember what happens is we have so many amazing tools, but because we're adding so many tools, we lose track of some of the values, right? So of some of these videos we already have. This is one of my favorite videos to show when I'm showing Chris the business, especially if he's like, well, is this legal? Or I've never heard of it. You know, is there really any value here, right? And this is right on my computer. Is it necessary? Do you need this to show the plan? Of course not. It's just one more thing that you have to help make this a little bit better if you have those questions. And where did it go? There it is. Do you have sound? Can you guys put sound on my laptop for me? Please, pretty please. Sugar on top.
You'll still see Lowe's Incorporated, but you're still going to see other brands incorporated because you know that people are buying Band-Aids. You know.
See? This is great for credibility.
Bloomberg World Headquarters in New York, this is Street Smart with Carol Masser and Matt Miller.
Turn that sucker off.
All right, welcome back to Street Smart. I'm Matt Miller. A merger in the online retail sector this week with the acquisition of Shop.com by Market America. Terms of the deal were not disclosed, but Market America CEO James Ridinger promises it will revolutionize the shopping experience on his site. He joins us now live from Miami. JR, we appreciate it. Do you want to disclose the terms of the deal to us right now on live television?
Well, unfortunately, I'm prohibited to do that by the agreement, but it's the synergy of the deal that'll determine the numbers, and I think they're going to be phenomenal.
Let's talk about what it's going to do for Market America, because they have a lot of traffic on Shop.com, about 5 times the eyes that see Market America. Shop.com is a site, and correct me if I'm wrong, that steers you towards places where you can buy the stuff you want, whereas at Market America, you sell stuff directly. How do you synergize this deal?
Well, it's a magic combination. First of all, the timing of the deal couldn't be better with the migration and paradigm shift to online shopping and social shopping. But you hit it right on the head. Shop.com is incredible at driving traffic. But the customer finds what they want very well on Shop.com, but then goes off to the merchant. With our new model, we'll retain those customers with tender loving care, and help them find what they want and provide them a shop consultant that is an online guide. So the combination of these two businesses, this partnership, makes us an online shopping experience that's like none other.
How do you intend to combine the two sites? One site, right? I mean, you're still going to keep the two sites running separately.
That's right. In the beginning, we'll keep them both running separately, and then integrate the best parts of Shop.com's site on ours, the best parts of ours on theirs, and provide one set of shop consultants for all the customers that come on board. The synergy of the deal is kind of unique. There's three things that really make it powerful, and I think it could be catalytic in changing the way people shop. The first is Market America brings people power to the deal. We have shop consultants that will be an online guide and personal shopper for customers that come to the site. And you combine that with Shop.com's technology. I mean, it's incredible. We have to combine 50 million products and 3,000 name brands. They have incredible search and intuitive navigation that narrows down to finding what you want. The best in comparative shopping, and the merchandising displays are just phenomenal. You combine one more thing with that and you have magic, and that's paying the customer to do what they love to do, which is shop. And if they like the experience, paying them to invite others to shop.
So you give people, what, 2% I think on all their purchases, and then you give them also a boost if their friends come on at their recommendation.
Exactly. It's kind of
Let me ask you about your revenues. You had $323 million in 2009 in sales on...
Is that powerful or what? How about with the line where it says backed by Bill Gates and Amazon? Okay? I mean, how huge is that? When I'm showing Chris, I'm like, man, wouldn't you want to own a little piece of this? That's this business model. Did Market America recognize that online shopping was the major $1 trillion wave? Did they want to get a piece of that? They tried for years to kind of do it on their own. They finally said, you know what, we can't catch up. We got to go find somebody that's really good. And they went out and bought tens of millions of dollars to go buy that. And when they bought it, what did they do with that? They added it right to my virtual franchise. I mean, how amazing is that, right? So that's another video that we put on.
Amazing.
I mean, you guys awake? Are we awake or not? I mean, again, they come out with so many new tools and whatever that we lose track of some of these amazing, great ones that we had in the past. Okay, so you just go to YouTube, right, /Market America, and all these videos are still there. You just type in Bloomberg or whatever, and you'll find some amazing, some great videos that we certainly use. I still use that to this day. So you guys are awake, right?
We had him down here.
So how do we feel about this? I mean, we got, are you guys ready to get rid of them or what? I mean,
We're glad you got him.
Glad you got him,
all
man.
right, let's see.
Enjoy them with New England.
So what are you guys, Jets fans? Giants fans? Giants fans, right? So what, 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks from now, right? Well, hey, we live literally 4 miles from the stadium, so if you're coming up, come look me up, all right? You don't like New England, right? There's no New England fans in there, is there? Yeah, thank goodness. Wow, man. That game, I don't know if you watched that with the Bills, that was horrible. Oh, we talked it up so much, and that was horrible. Right? Any hockey fans?
Yeah.
Oh, good. There's 3 fans. That's good. Rangers, Islanders, yeah. Yeah, we're lucky to have one semi-professional team in the, Buffalo, so we'll take what we can. Okay. So I did cover a lot of this morning, the university concept. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Let me finish the plan, sorry. All right, so I just showed Shop.com, right? Okay, and so one of the things on Shop.com, the cashback, again, I don't keep going unless Chris really feels like, I feel like he's got it. Does that make sense? Some people rush through this, and people are glossing over. This is such a powerful part of this business, Shop.com. Stop what you're doing, and that might be the rest of the meeting. I'm telling you right now, probably 30% of the time, the rest of my meeting is a conversation back and forth about Shop.com. If I have a live internet connection, I'm going through Advanced Auto Parts. I mean, I'm doing live examples to show them that value. Does that make sense? If they don't get that, it's not worth moving forward. This is a big, big part. And again, I think somebody just needs to give you permission. Look, you don't have to get through the whole plan. You don't have to get through the whole structure of that first meeting. What is our goal of the plan? To get the follow-up. To eventually do what? To lead to others. Not to get them signed in, not to register or whatever, Your goal is you show the plan, keep getting the follow-up till eventually then register in the business, okay? Well, how many follow-ups? That's right. You guys are awesome. You guys are well trained. I'm just telling you, people are, I don't know, 3, 6. I got follow-ups in my calendar. I got some follow-ups with that same person's names in my calendar 30 times. I have some probably in there 60 times. You know why? It doesn't matter when they registered in those periods. We continue to go through that process. When do I stop somebody's name in my calendar? When they die. That happened 15 years too. But when does somebody's calendar, there's only 3 things happen, right? You show them the plan, and one reason they're not in your calendar again is because you didn't schedule a follow-up. That is the only no-no. If somebody's interested, now I do a scale of 1 to 10. Look, appreciate your time, Chris. Thanks for coming today. On a scale of 1 to 4, you're not interested. Maybe you use the website, some of the products, but I really appreciate it. We're done. Okay, if you're a 5 to a 10, it just means you have no clue what you saw today, but it makes enough sense for you to get more information. All right, Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you land? It's funny, you get the 5, 5 1/4, 5 1/2, whatever. Okay, but if they're a 5 or above, they gave you permission to open your physical calendar, and I like to schedule 2 events. Open a scheduled time, calendar and schedule, look, let's try Thursday at 9 o'clock. Does that look good? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Do me a favor, I got 4 kids at home. Do you mind if we throw in Tuesday at 6 o'clock too, just in case I can't do Thursday or you can't? I always love having 2 scheduled, okay, in my calendar, all right? So that's my goal, right, is to get that follow-up. So number 1, if they fall out of your calendar, the only no-no is what? If you didn't schedule the follow-up. I had a buddy, in my business, about 6 months ago, sat down with him, he's so excited, he called me every other day with a new planning show, which is awesome, right? And then 3 months later, I'm like, dude, you're not even activated yet. What's happened? I mean, I have at least 20 plans that you've texted me that you've shown. What is going on? I said, bring me your calendar. He's all proud. He's got this physical calendar. Not one name was in his calendar more than once. He would show the plan, but never ask for the follow-up. And the new person doesn't know. They're not going to follow up with you. You're the one that's supposed to direct the process. And I hit him like a ton of bricks. Oh, man, what am I doing? You have to follow up the process. Number 1, they don't end up in your calendar because you schedule it. The only thing that's not allowed. Number 2, they didn't end up in your calendar because they're not interested. Is that okay? Yeah. Right? For every 10 plans I show, 4 to 6 are interested. 1 out of 10 ends up registering. Okay? Those are just the numbers I've seen in 15 years. Number 3, they keep in your calendar until what? They have their own calendar doing the same process. That could be 6 times later, that could be 20 times later, that could be 90 times later. Okay? You know what I did actually? I brought my calendars. I laugh because I saved all my calendars. I'm so glad I did from day 1. So this is 2000 to 2001. Now, don't do this. I was laughing, right? Because we used to do the second looks, you have your sticker, whatever, and I put it on my calendar. And it was funny because later on I noticed, whatever you do, people will do, good or bad. And so I'm sitting in the meeting, right? I got my suit and tie, and I'm looking around, and all of us have our silly stickers on our calendars. And I'm like, you know what, guys, we need to stop doing that. I said that my 6-figure income, I'm going to hit $1 million next year. It's all because part-time. Because of my first 3 years in the business. This may scare some of you. Okay, I'm gonna pass these around. Don't get intimidated. I was a single guy, 27 years old. I get it. You may not have this time. Everything in my calendar, I did not necessarily go to that event. That event might have just been going on in the team that I just wanted to have access to know what was going on. But I will pass these calendars around, okay, to let you know. What you're gonna notice is their plan showings, their follow-ups, their home kickoffs, their second looks, their major events, their regional conventions, over and over and over. You know how many motives parties you'll see? 0. You know how many TLS parties? 0. You know how many Nutrimetrics meetings I went on? Okay. You know what we did? Showed the plan, and then what else did we do? Then what did we do? We teach our people to do at Corns. And then sell ice comics. And what do we do at an HBP if nobody showed up? That's right. You practice the plan. And 30% of the time people didn't show up, but now you had other people in front of the room practice going through the plans. So you guys are welcome to look at these. I'm just telling you, that's $1 million. Those 3 years, maybe I'm going to make me $1 million. Okay. So shop.com, it could stop right there, and especially well if you don't have a pen. Okay. So from there, Chris, I've shown you shop.com, I showed you some of the value. Who do you know that you think shops online, especially Amazon.com? Who do we need to show that at to about Amazon.com? So Chris, is there anybody in your life, your mom, your dad, your parents, your brothers, your neighbors, that you think shop online now? Do you have a name? Okay, Vinny. What's his phone number? I'm just kidding. Right? Tell me about Vinny. Entrepreneur guy. Okay. Do you know, how do you know Vinny? Oh, awesome. Okay. So who else do you know that might shop online? Melanie? Who's Melanie? Your neighbor? Do you know anybody that Melanie knows? Family member? Friend? Anybody mutual? You've been to a barbecue? Just other neighbors? Okay. Who else do you know that might shop online? All right. So give me some. And part of my job is when I'm showing you this business plan, I'm showing you realistically what this takes to be successful, so you can see really what this process is. So who else do you think would see some value in Raise.com or having the app for Amazon or saving money when they're shopping anyways? Anybody else stick out? Who? Elaine? Okay. Sorry, my spelling is terrible. That's actually why I write so messy. So when I misspell it, I can argue that, no, that's spelled right, you just can't read it, right? Who's Elaine? Another neighbor? Okay. Any family members? Brothers, sisters, cousins? Okay. Mom, dad? Oh man, I'm going to adopt you. Come to Buffalo, brother. Okay. Give me another one. Who else do you know? Somebody from work? Mark? Okay. You know anybody that works on their own car? Besides you know? Okay. You getting the idea? Anybody else you think shops online? Okay. So what am I doing? I just want to realistically let him see this process. Okay? So over time, we're going to show them value. Is it fair to say if Vinny is using this for Home Depot, Advanced Auto Parts, or whatever, someday Vinny might know some other people that shop online? Is that a fair statement? Okay. And one of the things that's really cool is we entice Vinny to do that because he's going to make 0.5% cash back on anybody he tells about this. So you don't know anybody that Vinny knows, right? Okay, so we're just going to say Vinny 1, Vinny 2, Vinny 3. And the whole idea is this guy just spent $500 at Home Depot. Vinny, who's just a customer, just made $2.50, and then you make what we call this 20 IBV that I'll get into in a minute. So no matter how far this goes, this guy can do what? Eventually tell others. And this guy tells others. And this person tells others. And this person tells others. Now this person only gets that 0.5% cash back. These guys don't. But as a franchise owner, you get a piece of all that to infinity. No matter how far that goes, as a franchise owner, you get a piece of all of it. Okay, you catching me? See some value now? Not going to happen overnight. You're not quitting your job over this in the next 2 months, most likely. Okay? This is something that you start that process. Does Melanie know some people that also might shop online that she might tell? Elaine, the same thing? Is this fair to say? Okay? So on top of that, we make money basically 5 ways. Number 1, we're going to save you money and you're going to make cash back, okay? Cash back, right? On your own shopping, right? So we're going to show you some ways to, to save some your own money. Number 2, you make 0.5% cash back on anybody that you directly refer to your shop.com. And your shop.com might just be shop.com/Chris. Is that fair? Or whatever you decide to name it. So you're making 0.5%. And guess what? These first two ways, you get to make money on that even as just a customer. All right? Number 3, if you want to earn your way into the business, that's the beautiful part. You could 100% earn your way into this business, okay, at no cost up front, right? And that gives you the ability to make about 20 to 30% retail profit on our proprietary items, okay? We also have websites where you can make more substantial income, but basically you've got 2,000 items that you can make that kind of money on, all right? But from that money, the cash back, the 0.5% cash back, you can 100% earn your internet franchise, okay? Now, once you have your franchise, it's about a $500 investment, okay? But again, you can earn that, right? With that, all right, you're going to make money on what we call IBV and BV, okay? And it's basically a tracking system. All this shopping that's going on, is it fair to say that this person might go to Sears, and this person goes to Kohl's, and this person, just got a trip on our auction site, right? And this person, just went to Macy's, and this, right? It's endless what these people are doing when they're shopping online. Would you like a little piece of that? And every time this person shops, there might be people with $5 cash back, $20 cash back, $200 cash back, $1,500 cash back. When they have cash, every time they go to shop.com, guess whose name they see? They see your name, Chris, because you own the shop.com franchise. You're the owner of that McDonald's, okay? Eventually, if you want to make the money on BV and IBV, just like any traditional business, you have to have an expansion component, right? If I own a hair salon, I'm only going to make a certain amount of money. If I want to make more money, eventually I've got to probably open up a second hair salon and a third hair salon. Unfortunately, most business owners don't get to that because they get so sucked in on just keeping their one afloat, it's tough to get further. But I don't care what you do. If you're a lawyer and you're only doing your own law work, you're going to only make a certain amount of money. You want to make big money, you got to open a law firm. I don't care if you're cutting lawns. But if you're showing up cutting lawns, there's only so much you're going to make. Okay, you start a lawn maintenance firm where you have people that work for you. Is that fair? So there's choices in life. You're either basically a W-2 person where you have to show up for work to get paid, which is nothing wrong with that. Or if you want a chance to get ahead in life, you probably have to own your own business. All right, and the best way to do that is have a business that can expand eventually with or without you and probably create freedom. And this is one of those options. So in order to make money on these two, you have to do your part and help your business expand, okay? And one of the ways that we do that is as this is happening, you might have this guy over here, Joe, right, that says, wow, every time I go here, I see this guy's name. Does that make sense? Okay? How do I get my name? Who does he contact? You. He's the one that's got the contact information. And what I really find is usually one of these two come from that. Either shop.com or because they're already using the products or they want to use it as wholesale, or you just sit there and go, look, you're already buying this stuff anyways. I don't even feel right not showing you how to get this at wholesale. Is that fair? The second one is usually like any business, are you going to hire anybody that comes and has a resume that says I can cut hair? Okay, or are you going to go through an interview process to see who fits for this? So we do the same thing. We're going to interview through people until we find people this fits for. And in this case, I would probably start with Vinny. Is Vinny the one you said was an entrepreneur? Or was that Mark? Vinny. Okay? And there's many ways we can do that, but ultimately we're just saying, look, this is worth checking out, or I love your opinion, I respect your business mind, or whatever. This is a virtual franchise that I'm looking into. Can I steal an hour of your time? Is that fair? And eventually, till we find two others that this fits for. All right? And it's not going to be your first two, most likely. All right? You're going to have to go through that process, like I said. For every 10 people we introduce or interview through, 4 to 6 are interested, but usually only 1 out of 10 maybe register their business. Okay, is that fair? And then from there, I'm just saying, isn't it fair that Joe eventually can do the same thing with or without our help, right? And you have another people. So over time, you want as many hair salons all over the country as possible, do you not? So the greatest thing about this, unlike my buddy who's a mason, that taught this guy how to do masonry work, and then a year later, what's he doing? He's over here advertising next to his masonry stuff because you just trained your competition. These guys are part of your business forever, and in our business, we want these guys to make as much money as humanly possible because it doesn't take anything away from them, and it builds us synergistically. We build that way. Okay? Is that fair? And so what happens is, Vinny leads to, another guy, and meets another person. You might end up having another person that's interested. Is it fair to say that Sue, let's say Sue's from Ohio. Is it fair to say that Sue knows somebody that shops online? All right, maybe Barb. Okay. Does Barb know somebody that shops online? This doesn't happen overnight, but isn't this exactly what happens over time? Okay. Barb leads to Tim, who lives in San Diego, right? Tim spends $500 at Home Depot. Tim just made $15 cash back. Barb just made $2.50, and then what you make is this 20 IBV, right? What happens is Sue gets 20, this person gets 100% credit, they get 20, this person gets 20, Vinny gets 20, Chris, you get 20, every single partner all the way back up to Mark America gets 100% credit for that $500 that was sold at Home Depot in San Diego. That's unheard of. That is the most amazing concept ever. Don't you guys agree with that? Are you awake or really? And that's the key. Because our goal is to train these people to be able to run their own business with or without us. And eventually they won't care. Sue wants to make as much money as humanly possible, and we want her to make as much money as humanly possible. Is that fair? And this is just a tracking system that tracks all of that, and that's how we get paid. And that's really where the big money comes from. Is that fair? Okay. Now, I always flip the page, because usually this is a mess by now. So I always flip the page. I know, look, I'm videotaping or whatever, so let's take some pictures. But I just redraw it. So if it's another piece of paper, yeah, did I say draw wrong? Making fun of my accent or lack thereof, okay? So I redraw it, but this time I'm going to do a little neater, but I'm going to add the BV and the IBV backs, okay? And again, I'm redrawing it because I want to bring you into it. You're following me every step. Wait, look at this room. You're not coughing, you're not moving around, you're engaged, aren't you? Yeah. What a different world it was back then compared to what we see, right? And then you have your IBV banks, and then I'm just showing that BV and IBV going into all the banks. Is that fair? I'm not going to do it now. And then you just hit your 1,200 and 1,200 equals a $300 BV or IBV check. So I go through the pay cycle, and then I stop there. I'm not getting into re-entries. I'm not getting into all this crazy stuff. I'm just giving you the basics. Can you understand much more than that? So, Chris, I really appreciate your time. I know it's a lot of information. I apologize for that. I just wanted to kind of cover it all. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 4, I should thank you very much for your time. You might know somebody that might be interested. Or if you're a 5 to a 10, my job is to open up my calendar and schedule a time or two for us to kind of keep this, the concept going, until at some point you can make an educated decision if this fits for you or not. Is that fair? So on that 1 to 10, where do you see yourself? 5. And you're going to get 5 a lot. And did he just give me permission to open up my calendar, right? Physical calendar with a pen. All right, Chris, so, I know life gets in the way, mind of this, whatever. What evenings, mornings, what works best? Okay? How about Thursday evening? Okay? And then you know what? I got 4 kids at home, whatever. Do you mind the week after that, what evening might work? A Tuesday? Okay. I like to get them in there twice. Does that make sense? Okay. And then from there, I'm just continuing the process. What do I do at the follow-ups? It doesn't matter. That's the other thing. Everybody's so worried about what they're doing. It doesn't matter what you do. You just keep the process going. Does that make sense? That's how I show the plan. Matt's coming up with something.